My friends, there's a way of practicing guitar that not a lot of self-taught players know about that will drastically increase the amount of progress that you're making without actually putting more time into it. And what I will show you today will have an extreme effect on your picking technique as well as the synchronization with your fretting hand technique. What I want to talk to you about today is called picking articulation. Most of the time when we are working on our picking technique, we're mostly thinking about how to hold the pick, if we should pick with an open or with a closed hand approach, if we should play downstrokes or upstrokes, all of that fun stuff. But what most self-taught players are never thinking about and never working on concerns the articulation and dynamics of every single picking stroke. What I mean by that is that it makes a huge difference if you're picking notes like this or like this, which might sound obvious at first. Of course, if you're picking very gently like this, you won't have a lot of picking attack in your sound. And if you're picking with a lot of attack like this, the notes are going to be louder and more aggressive, right? But as soon as you start mixing those different dynamics and articulation concepts in your rhythm and lead guitar playing, you will not only gain more control over your picking motion, you will also sound much better as a guitar player. So right away, allow me to back up my claims by showing you the really cool exercise number 1 of today's video. So with this first exercise, I was playing 16th notes and I was only playing one note, E, right here on the 2nd fret of the D string, but it did sound kind of interesting, right? So it didn't sound like this. Just the same note over and over again, equal dynamics, no interesting articulation. It sounded like this when I was playing the exercise. Let me show it to you a bit more slowly. So through my picking dynamics, which you can see in the transcription down below, it's this kind of weird little symbol that indicates that I'm hitting certain notes much harder than others. Just through those dynamics, I was creating an interesting rhythm, even if I just played one note over and over again, which isn't the most interesting concept for a riff. Usually rock and metal guitar players only do that through muted notes and open notes. So switching between open, palm muted notes like this, which is also okay. But to me, it sounds much more interesting if you do that with picking dynamics. So with a lot of attack and with less attack at critical rhythmic sections. As you can see with this first basic exercise, I'm grouping the measure into groups of 3. I'm not playing triplets, I'm still playing 16th notes, but I'm playing a couple of groups of 3 before I go into a group of 4, which creates this rhythmically interesting context, although I'm just playing 16th notes in 4/4, it's nothing fancy. And as you can see in the transcription of this exercise, because I'm working with those odd groups of 3, the first accented note is a downstroke. That's obvious, it's the first note that I'm playing. But the second accented note, since I'm working with groups of 3, is an upstroke. So even though we're barely scratching the surface with this simple exercise, the accents are already quite interesting because they're falling on downstrokes and on upstrokes as well. And practicing like this is not only great for your timing, it will really transform the sound of your rhythm and lead guitar playing because you will add this interesting rhythmic twist to your phrases, which is exactly what divides the professional players from the self-taught beginner and kind of intermediate players that never do this. The next exercise I want to show you is my personal favorite one. It will have a huge effect on your picking technique and also on your hand synchronization. Before we check it out, I just wanted to let you know that all of today's exercises are part of the brand new practice package that I made for my Guitar Academy on patreon.com/burn. You will start very slow with the fundamentals of developing a clean, controlled and precise picking technique with special play-along videos that I recorded for you. And then you move step by step to more advanced exercises that will really tighten up your rhythm and lead guitar playing and also push your speed to a completely new level. Aside from this new package, you also get access to over 12 full guitar technique courses, 5 music theory courses and even 4 home recording courses when you join my Guitar Academy today. As always, the link is down below, patreon.com/burned. We only have limited slots this month because the demand is crazy high and we want to keep the quality up, especially with the personal coaching tier, where I give feedback to student videos myself in the secret VIP Facebook group. So if you enjoy these YouTube videos but you're actually serious about your guitar practice and you want the real deal, join my Guitar Academy on Patreon today with the link down below, patreon.com/burn. burn. Get immediate access to this week's practice package and to all of the amazing courses I made for you over there. I'm waiting for you inside my Guitar Academy, but for now, let's continue with the next exercise. Alright, here's why this second exercise is so cool. So I'm still working with groups of 3 and with 16th notes like with the first exercise. So I'm always accenting the first note of each group of 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But then I'm including a speed burst in the form of 16th note triplets. And this is what will push your hand synchronization to the next level because your fretting hand has to follow along. Combined with the drums, this turns into a quite complex sounding rhythm, I'd say. And if you focus on keeping your wrist moving when you play this exercise at a faster tempo, so not a stiff arm movement like this, while still having those nice accented notes in there, you will improve the timing and control of your wrist picking movement. You will also push your speed because you have those quick speed bursts in there. And since you have to synchronize all that with your fretting hand, you will also work on your hand synchronization, which makes this one of my favorite workouts at the moment. But we're still barely scratching the surface. I have some more really cool and more challenging exercises for you. Let's check out this week's third workout. Alright, so the reason why this is the next level when it comes to picking articulation and dynamics is because I'm not just repeating the same note over and over with a couple of little twists thrown in there. Right now I have to alternate between different notes all the time with my fretting hand, and I have to sync that up with my picking hand and with the articulations and dynamics my picking hand is doing. So I'm still working with groups of 3, although I'm playing 16th notes, still not triplets, 16th notes, but groups of 3. And I'm still accenting the first note each time, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and so on. But since the fretting hand is moving right now and I'm playing a different note for every single picking stroke, it's gonna be a little bit difficult at first to still perform those accents on the downstroke, then the upstroke, then the downstroke, then the upstroke, which makes this an amazing synchronization exercise once again. And after those groups of 3, I'm always playing a group of 4 to kind of resolve this pattern. And as you can hopefully hear, I'm trying not to play it like this. And I'm also trying not to play it like this. So please keep that in mind for level number 3. With this one you have an even bigger synchronization benefit since you're playing different notes with your fretting hand all the time. And one of my favorite benefits of practicing like this is that you will really feel the notes and subdivisions that you're playing at very fast tempos, because you will always feel those heavy accents with your picking hand, and that will allow you to stay in time and to always play the right amount of notes no matter how fast it gets. So if you want to shred like hell, this is the exercise for you. Alright, now after all these really cool exercises, you're ready for the final level, the final boss of this video, so to say. Let's combine everything we learned in this video and take it to the final stage. This is the big challenge I want you to complete this week. Alright, so for this final challenge, the picking approach is actually quite similar, if not actually the same compared to the second exercise. So you have 2 groups of 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, with 16th notes. Then you have a quick speed burst with triplets, and then 2 groups of 3 with 16th notes again. But this time you have to sync all of those tricky patterns with different notes of your fretting hand. So the fretting hand is constantly moving. So at this speed it's getting pretty tough to really articulate those picking dynamic changes, to have those heavy hits combined with the not so heavy hits in there. But as you're practicing this at around 100, 120 beats per minute, you will see that this is great for your wrist. Your wrist will burn maybe just a little bit when you do that for a couple of minutes. So it will really unlock a very fast wrist movement, and it will help with getting rid of that stiff arm movement. Let's check it out a bit more slowly. By now, after playing all these exercises for you, my wrist feels really loose, which makes this a nice warm-up for my picking technique each day. And this week's practice goal for you is playing this around 120 beats per minute, which is gonna be a little bit tricky, especially with that little string transition that I threw in there. So if you accept my challenge and you want to take your picking technique, control and speed to a completely new level, it's time to download the full exercise package I made for you this week in my Guitar Academy on patreon.com/bernd. The link is in the description or in the first comment down below for you. Once you join over there, you can download the slow play-along videos as well as the faster play-along videos to start practicing together with me each day. Of course, you also get the PDF tab sheet, the guitar profile and the backing tracks with and without my guitar. All the files you need to make the fastest amount of progress in the shortest amount of time possible. And remember, you also get access to over 12 full guitar technique courses over there, 5 music theory courses and 4 home recording courses. And there's also a personal coaching tier if you want my personal input and feedback on your practice videos. So I'm waiting for you inside my online Guitar Academy on Patreon. This is exactly what you've been looking for all this time. Can't wait to talk to you over there. Until then, thanks so much for tuning in. See you next time. Bye bye.